Jeremy's Raceway, Chapter 3, The Waiting. The search continued long after darkness settled over Hallux Rigidus. Nobody wanted to quit. Flashlights could be seen moving through the fields by the dozens. Lanterns drifted along the road like giant fireflies moving through the darkness. Volunteers checked barns, drainage ditches, abandoned buildings. It seemed the whole town was out searching for Jeremy Newbury. Several men searched the woods surrounding the raceway until well after midnight. Ben Carter, Owen Pike, and Luke Harper were among them. Years earlier, Jeremy had saved all three of them when a steel beam failed during construction. None of them had gone home since learning he was missing. "If he's out here, we'll find him," Ben kept saying. The words sounded less certain each time. At the Newberry's house, the lights remained on throughout the night. Emily sat near the living room, with both hands resting on her stomach. The baby would arrive soon, perhaps days, or even hours. Several women from church stayed with her, bringing hot chocolate, blankets, and quiet company. None of it helped. Every set of headlights made her stand, wondering if it brought news. Whenever someone knocked at the door, her heart jumped in her throat. A second felt like an eternity. Jeremy had worked late before, many times, but Jeremy always called, always. If he was going to be late for any reason, he called. Shortly after midnight, she knelt down and prayed for the first time in a long time. She prayed with all her heart that Jeremy would walk through the door and apologize for scaring her. Outside, the church bells rang. Pastor Reeves said he would ring the bells once every hour until Jeremy was found. It helped the searchers too, reminding them that the search was still ongoing. A reminder that there was still hope. But by dawn, no one had found him. At the raceway, exhausted volunteers drifted toward the site office for water and rest. The atmosphere had changed. The optimism from the evening before was gone. People spoke more quietly. Some no longer spoke at all. Around 7 that morning, the telephone in the site office rang. Mayor Newbury answered it immediately. "Hello?" Emily's voice came through the line. "Dad, has anyone found him yet?" The mayor closed his eyes. For a second, he couldn't answer. No. Silence followed. Then he heard her crying, deep sobs of despair. He never came home. The words struck him harder than anything he had heard since the search began. He swallowed back his own tears and replied in a calm voice, "Everyone is here searching. We'll find him. Don't worry." When he finished speaking, neither of them said anything for several seconds. Finally, Emily asked the question everyone had been asking. "What do you think happened?" Mayor Newbury looked through the office window, past the searchers, past the crane, toward the unfinished sign and the freshly filled concrete well beneath it. The raceway was complete. Only Jeremy was missing. "I don't know," he replied quickly, suppressing possibilities he didn't want to entertain. It was the first time he had admitted the words out loud. For the first time since the search began, he heard uncertainty in his own voice, and it frightened him more than he had cared to admit. He said farewell to Emily and hung up the phone. For a moment, Ballard found himself thinking about his father. The old mayor had faced worse during the strange days of 1904. Police officers moved quietly through the office while the mayor explained what little he knew. Jeremy's truck was still parked where he had left it, the engine cold as if it had been there all night. The doors were locked. The blanket and toy still rested on the passenger seat. No one had seen him leave. The search had continued all night, but there was no sign of Jeremy Newbury. Mayor Newbury remained at the construction site most of the day. Workers came and went. Police officers came and went. Questions were asked, and more questions were asked. Pictures were taken. Measurements were recorded. Every report eventually found its way to him, the mayor. He listened to each one carefully and asked practical questions, made notes when notes needed making. If a worker, officer, or anyone else needed direction, he provided it. If someone simply stood nearby, not knowing what to say or do, he thanked them for coming. No one could accuse him of falling apart. He had no choice. Because if he stopped even for a moment, there would be nothing left to do but wait. Only those who knew him well could see the exhaustion of a father who had spent every waking hour waiting for someone to tell him his son had been found. Near dusk, the deputy approached carrying a notebook. "We've searched every road between here and Hollow Creek." Mayor Newbury nodded. "Searched them again." The deputy hesitated. "We already covered them twice." "Then cover them a third time." The deputy opened his mouth to object, then closed it. Mayor Newbury wasn't speaking as mayor. He was speaking as a father, and every man present understood the difference. The search continued. Emily spent most of the day sitting near the front window. The curtain remained partially open so she could see every car approaching. At first, she hoped it would stop and Jeremy would step out. But as time passed, her hope changed to fear that it would be the police or the mayor stepping out alone, carrying news she did not want to hear. Every time a car passed without stopping, a small whimper escaped her lips. Tears slipped down her cheeks, even as she tried to hold them back. Neighbors brought food. Most of it went untouched. The house filled with concerned visitors. Emily barely remembered any of them. The faces of her friends and neighbors blurred together into a distant echo of support and love, but she barely felt it. She was here waiting while they were somewhere far away, outside the world she now occupied. They offered hope and reassurance. Yet with every passing hour, those promises felt a little more hollow. She thanked them, then returned to the window, waiting.